Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number 73. This is our reviewing the seventh film of the series, which is Paradise Sea. Now, I should point out, though, there's one character who appeared in the previous 16 films. But here's the surprise. This is the first film where he's absent. Yes. Who is it? The character of Santos. Yeah. The detective who originally thought that Sato was his girl Destiny. Turns out it was actually Conan's teacher. His smoking hot teacher, mind you. The one who always wears tracksuits to school. Yep. Yeah, I don't know why he was absent for this movie. It just, you have, like, for police officer movie, you just have McGuire, Takagi, and the smoking hot Sato. And that's it. That's all you get. Now, some of the characters, now, pretty much for this film, aside from those three, here's the cast. The Detective Boys. All five of them. Though Anita is off with Agasa. They've owned Heiji and Heiji, Kacha, Sonko, Ren, Richard Moore. Like, they're like almost everybody appeared in the series so far at this point. As far as I can tell, except for Sarah. Yeah, but she appears in the next movie, but yeah, this is probably this movie was probably released before her anime debut. That's probably the reason why she's not in this movie, but at least she has a good reason. Santos, I'm not sure why he was absent for. It's kind of weird. This movie is mainly all about the Japanese Navy. Yep. Movie starts out basically with Conan, Rachel, Richard, who basically is reading a newspaper. Three of the four detective boys, basically Amy, Mitch, and Genta, along with, well, pretty much like normal people who usually go on these trips. Yeah, apparently Amy wanted a trip to be on this Argus Destroyer, which they explain in the movie that, now they even show live action footage of this land movie. Yeah, the way they designed this movie, the way they designed this shit movie, it is very accurate to how Japanese destroyers look in real life, which kudos for the studio basically for doing that. They go on the ship, and of course and Conan gets a phone call, not from his cell phone, but from his satellite phone, which is basically connected to his watch. Yeah, it's first time. This is actually a new gadget. First time in some movies they actually use a new gadget, and it's the second to last gadget introduced. Though there's also one more, the drone, which that's not make its first film appearance for 3 films. Though they kind of remodel it from the show. Yeah, which, if you kind of look at it, like if you watch the show and get to the movies at this point, the satellite phone is the last gadget introduced. That's before it's technically the last gadget ever introduced, though the drone's going to make a reappearance in the 20th film, but technically, yeah, this is the last new gadget, because they don't have any new gadgets. I mean, here's their gadgets they use in the movie. They use the tranquilizer dart, well, of course, the satellite phone, obviously. Pretty much he uses like every single gadget he's got at this point. He uses the soccer ball. Yeah, he uses the soccer ball. Yep, so they get on the ship, they get a little tour, they get a little debriefing exactly what the ship is, and they go onto the bridge basically for a combat simulation, and of course turns into a real simulation with a boat that comes to them, and they kind of, oh yeah, just a simulation, though it's actually real. Because a missile get launched on this freaking thing. And also a torpedo. I'm thinking, a destroyer launch torpedo. What is this, World War II? Might be that Japanese destroyers probably still have these. U.S. destroyers, I have no idea if they have them. Yeah. So as for the investigation for this wreck, yeah, after it's hit, it's never mentioned again. It's mentioned like one off time after that, but that's it. And of course, Conan also is a woman basically on the bridge. Now it's pointed out in the movie, I don't know if this is true or not, apparently the percentage of female officers in the Japanese self-defense force who are Navy is actually 4%. A very small amount of them are women, which I'm like, that's interesting. Okay. So, and we have this spy plot where these spies working for that country. What country do they talk about? They never say the whole movie. It's a plot point that's introduced like, oh, it's that country. what country it is. It's definitely not the U.S. because how would the U.S. do this in the 21st century? Because Japan is our ally. So who could it be? Could it be the Russians? Possibly it could have been, but I don't know. That's one thing about this film that's introduced. They never explain this when the movie is over. Like, who the heck were these spies? Like, what country are these spies working for? Mm-hmm. And of course, this whole thing becomes serious when a severed arm shows up. Yep, a severed arm. And of course, well, this comes after they get a tour of like the deck, and of course I was like, oh look, a female officer. Of course, they get a picture with her, and they mention, oh yeah, I just cook. Despite the fact this is a smoking hot woman, and the way she's dressed, I highly doubt this would be the chef of the ship. No, this is somebody else. Who she is? She actually works for the intelligence. She's a kind of work for what I can tell, the Japanese version of the CIA. Yeah, that's who she works for. Okay. Yeah, they explain this later on in the movie. And of course, yeah, this is also a plot point. There's also a plot thread of this kid with this guy who claims to be, who says to his father, yeah, it really is not him. It's the actual spy. He's X. Who this guy is, they never say what his name is. Yeah, he pops a few times in the movie, and then eventually at one point he gets to a fight with Rachel. A very good fight scene in this movie, and then Rachel gets knocked overboard, and then she's not mentioning him for quite some time. As for the spy himself, he is arrested. And, well, he mentions about what happened to Rachel, and that's it for him. Yeah, apparently his plan was to steal plans for the Aegis Destroyer. Now, who he was reporting to, it's like this whole spy plot was really not well handled in the movie. I'd say some of the other stuff was pretty well handled. They reveal also that the Savannah belonged to a dead lieutenant, who turns out was actually a traitor. Yeah, he was a traitor. He was selling secrets. Why he was doing this, never explained. Oh yeah, and how the guy died is one of the most bizarre I've ever seen. From what I could tell, his death was an accident. Yes, an accident. And he's charged with killing a member of the Self-Defense Force. The guy who's actually part of the Coast Guard. Yeah, I'm not surprised the Japanese have got a Coast Guard. And for what I could tell, look like they wear very similar to the uniform of the Navy. That probably is true over here, but the thing is, well, actually, that kind of is true because they wear very similar style uniform, but it's not exact. And of course, Conan running around. At one point, his satellite phone transmissions are actually picked up by the ship, and they look around the ship who the person is. And Conan decides to hide in the magnetic room in order to make his phone call to won't be traced. I'm like, that's a smart move. Also, hidden details of the movie with Kachin, they do a little bit in the movie. Yeah, they get a good amount to do. Yeah, they basically ride the Kaito, and also the detective from the city. Yeah, he doesn't do much, but always the guy. Yeah, it's something that they bring him in, and he does very little in this movie. He shows up, he sets himself up. Yeah, he is involved. It's very minor at best. See the guy, bring him in, but you don't. And of course, here's kind of something interesting though. They'll bring up his chipmunk. Yeah, his chipmunk is nowhere to be seen. Not even mentioned. Also, Conan's got no interaction with him at all. I mean, Conan's had previous interactions with this guy, but no interaction. He interacts with McGuire when he shows up. Yeah, McGuire's brought in via helicopter along with Takagi and Sato. They get a good amount to do, which I at least got to appreciate that. I like the last few films. It seems as though the police characters in the last few got almost nothing to do. This movie, Sato got a chance to do something. She got a chance to point her gun at people, and she actually took down the freaking spy, which kudos for him doing that, for her doing that. Takagi, of course, is pretty smart too. Though at one point, though I should point later on, basically, she only chokes at and pretty much Well, moving forward, all this stuff, basically, this is this interesting opening with the whole finding of this suspicious. Yeah, that actually does come to play in like the opening couple minutes. That comes to play much later on in the movie. Oh, and the whole thing, Rachel going on board. Yeah, that's actually forgotten about for a couple minutes, and it's brought up again in the last like 10 minutes. Is him frantically searching for her, and they ultimately get up, and of course Conan yells her name, without honorific, mind you, and they find her. Yeah, first they just using this particular radar because she's wearing a particular watch, and they find her, take her to the hospital, and they don't show her in the hospital. They show Harley in the hospital. Yeah, they actually track down one of the spy's co-workers, one of, let's say, his part of this ring. Yeah, they track him down, and Hedgie saves Katja saves her, but the guy is shot by Okada, his actual close friend of his from the police force, though he himself is basically grazed in the frickin' arm. And of course, Katja, a lot of the time after he gets shot, she's basically crying all over his shirt. Yeah, she's crying constantly. Like, she cries really loudly. Yep. Oh, by the way, what's Anita's contribution to the plot? She just analyzes data along with Agasa, drives around the car. I don't think Agasa gets out of the car once this whole movie. I mean, at least Anita does. Agasa doesn't even leave his car at all. Which I'm like, that's kind of weird. Actually, wait, he does leave the car once when they're in the hotel room, which is near where they were actually got there, and they just basically relaxed. And of course, Anita's eating food, which I thought was quite nice. First time we see in the movie, he's actually testing out the phone. And they kind of basically work together in this particular case. And they find out some certain things. Oh, and yes, at one point in the movie, we actually see something that's not been seen in the movies since the second film. Conan knocked out Richard Moore to do a deduction. I'm like, why the heck did it take 15 films after the second film to do this again? They did it in the first two films, but then after that they just completely dropped this idea. It's like a couple ones they tried to do it, but they ended up doing it with some people. And, oh yeah, and it's interesting though, Richard Moore is actually on point. Which, I'm surprised how good amount of writing he got this whole movie. Because usually he's a buffoon. That's usually how he's written, a complete buffoon. Where he's always like drooling over smoking hot women. He kind of is like this with the female officer. And aside from that, it's what's her name? I actually hear her name. Let's see here. Her name is Fuji. Yes, Fuji. Yeah, beautiful woman. Not much known about her aside from the fact that she works for intelligence agency. Yeah. We also have the whole with the boy with his father. Yeah, that's a plot point that's not really followed up very well. It's like, oh, we suspect this guy something mysterious going on with him. Turns out he's actually a fake. Oh yeah, and the fact that Yuki is with him because he killed his father, and his father is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm like, what the heck was up with this plot point, anyways? Yeah, it's one of the most bizarre. It's one of the most. It's like this is the one plot point. The whole thing with this little boy and this guy claiming his father. This is the most weakly developed of all the plot points in the movie. At least everything else is written pretty well. Ren surprisingly doing martial arts. I'm glad the fact she got a chance to do something like fight the freaking spy. Which is something though, because last few films she hasn't used the martial arts at all. She has them. She knows how to use them. Apparently, it seems as though the Reyes movies completely forgot she knows martial arts. Or at least they should try to, but at least I think it was good film. At least they have a reason for her not to use martial arts. Last film, I don't remember what it was, but this film, yeah, she used them, fights them, and of course she gets thrown overboard. So she's rescued. It's like they don't really follow that plot point at all. It's like it's like that plot point, her falling overboard. It felt very, very tacked on, and just had to basically, we had to end this with this big, exciting thing, this big, epic conclusion, like going to rescue Rachel, and they do eventually. Of course, she's rescued by the freaking Coast Guard, which that's one of the primary jobs: rescuing people who basically fell overboard. Yeah. Oh, and the whole thing with the public service tour thing. Yeah, that's something they introduce at the start of the movie, and then it's completely forgotten about for most of the movie. As a matter of fact, most Detective Boys do absolutely nothing in this whole movie. Yeah, they don't do anything until the very end. Also, apparently, Richard Moore knew nothing about his own daughter falling overboard. Yeah, he was asleep, and nobody woke him up with the fact, like, hey, wake up, old man. Your daughter's been thrown overboard, and we need to search for her. Did the people who the movie forgot the fact that he does deeply care about his own daughter, how much of an idiot he is? Yeah. But all in all, this movie's actually a lot better than the last film. I mean, with the exception of a couple of minor plot threads. And here's kind of the thing: there's no glaring plot holes in this movie. Well, not very much, mind you. I mean, the only thing that was never explained is why did that lieutenant turn traitor? Why was his country after these secrets of this ship for? And what country they work for? That whole spy subplot was not very well developed movie, but a lot of everything else was developed really well. Like a lot of the characters, like Richard Moore, surprisingly on point, which is a lot of time is him being a goofball, but him here, no, he's completely serious. I'm surprised he was written this way. Mm-hmm. Serena, of course, doesn't really do very much. Yeah, she's basically when Rachel was missing, she's basically obviously like like panicking. She really wants to see her again because they're best friends. Yeah, they're like sisters. And anybody who's like that basically would, who are close like that, would react that way. It's perfectly natural. And these little kids react this way too because of how close they are to Rachel. Makes perfect sense to them act like this. Yeah. I would say of Freedom, Amy is a lot closer to Rachel than the other two are. Yeah. Conan doesn't cry, but eventually they do find each other. Eventually they do. Yeah, they do find her, and basically Conan basically kind of it pushes them into basically where they exactly find her. But at least it's handled really well. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact it felt very tacked on, it felt though that was handled really well, and it felt like this whole last 10 minutes felt really tacked on because it seems as though once it captures the spy, it's like, oh, like they figured it out, and the whole thing with this Coast Guard guy, him responsible for the lieutenant's death. Yeah, that is fine handled. I don't think anybody was suspecting him basically involved with the death. Yeah, it's like the death wasn't properly. I mean, it was suspected X killed him, but it turns out no, it was the Coast Guard. Okay. Oh yeah, and here's the thing: he had no motive to kill him. His whole death was a complete accident. Oh yeah, and they also use a subplot of this sightseeing ship. Basically, yeah, they mention it. They show him flashback. Do they ever see it again? Nope. Yeah, and I like the fact that Harley was used pretty well in the movie. Yeah, I like last like 14 films is basically the weakest of the films I've seen so far, due to the fact that almost all the characters, except for Conan, do absolutely nothing. This movie, the only characters get a chance to do a good amount of stuff to do in the movie is, of course, besides Conan, is, of course, Harley, Anita, though not very much, Agasa, Kacchan. I'd say Rachel gets a good amount to do, though she disappears halfway through the movie. Richard Moore gets a chance to do some stuff. Oh yeah, and after Rachel is saved, Sato is hugging Takagi, who basically is blushing and nearly choking. Yeah. But as for the ending, it's just basically, well, him recovering in the hospital. I'm like, really? And you don't follow up with Rachel? Okay. Fine. All in all, pretty good movie. Okay? So, that's it for particular review. I'm hoping to do about 2 more videos today. Next one will be a review of the newest episode of The 7 Deadly Sins. And I'm going to talk about basically that and the final chapter of the manga. Yeah, I'll talk about that soon. Okay? See you next video. Bye.